So welcome everybody. Um, Thank you for being here. I love it. I love it. I I really appreciate it. So before we get started, as usual, right, in typical natural success style, let's set an intention to get the most out of this masterclass, to be of service to ourselves, to one another, and to yeah, to just enjoy, right, and be open to hear. Um, So avoid conflict at your own peril. I collaborated with this on this with Kim Parker, and we came up with this theme, and we thought, okay, we all know conflict, right? And even working on this with Kim and preparing this, it became clear to me that conflict is so much than what I thought. I always thought it was just, between me and others and between, between two people or between two points, right? But conflict can be in yourself as well. So it is so much more than that. So the central premise is conflict with consciousness enables you to know yourself, right? It is really the most profound tool we can use to get to know ourselves. So the end result that we're going for is to develop a deeper, more empowering relationship with conflict and to gain the confidence to use conflict successfully as a powerful tool for self-awareness. And it is a tool that we can use every day, sometimes multiple times a day, depending on how we are, where we are at, right? And if we know how to pivot. Um, But if we look at just the etymology of conflict, it comes from Latin, confligere, and that means to strike or to dash together, to battle or struggle, the coming together or meeting of opposite forces. The modern meaning encompasses also internal and mental struggles, the clash of ideas and disagreements. So yeah, we can see that we can have that in ourselves as well, right? I mean, do you ever have a conversation with yourself and you play both roles? I do sometimes, and the horses will listen, but I do talk to myself, and I'll come up with pros and cons, right? That's conflict. So, um, but as William says, it's the best tool for self-awareness. So why does self-awareness matter? Uh, Self-awareness allows us and enables us to have choice. And if we can choose instead of just be at, um, I don't know the word for that right now, but at the mercy of our conflict, of our ego, then it's not so good. So choice matters. It enables you to reassign the power and to facilitate a different outcome. So the premise is by default, we react unconsciously in situations of conflict. So we react, and it comes from our childhood wounding. It comes from our sense of incompleteness. It is our psychological tension. Our behavior is seeking to resolve the pain of that. Right? Do you have any? Can you come up with any ideas that had happened for yourself? Yeah, that we give the power away because we're either not good enough or anything that happens, and it's unconscious, right? And we may know that there's something happening because we feel it, but we don't do anything about it if we just react. And we're making machines. It is always like, what does it mean about me or about them or about the world? And um, what do I need to do in order to cope with that, right? It is unconscious, it's automatic, it's born as a product of our identity. And at the same time, it is what creates our identity and becomes deeply ingrained as an embedded structure in our psyche. So it forms the basis of our dysfunctional patterns behavior. We repeat it over and over again, usually, and once we become aware of it, we recognize it. And once we can recognize it, we can change it. But it comes in all aspects of life, right? Relationships, work, money, health, wherever, in all aspects. So our individual version, the totality of what we do, how we do it, is unique to each of us. So we all react differently. It all depends on our individual woundedness. So to use conflict as a tool for self-awareness, we need to have a deep understanding of what we do and be conscious about how we use the information we get from that awareness. So whatever is happening in our world, our current circumstances, it's an accurate reflection of where our focus is. I'm talking here about the focus of our unconscious level, right? When our focus is on the agenda of our identity, we are seeking to compensate for our own incompleteness. So, for example, a lack of power, people that feel like they have a lack of power, they will a lot of the times dominate and control to avoid feeling weak and vulnerable. But that can create conflict, especially if it's directed to others, right? Or if it's a reaction to something. A lack of worth can make us can make us overgive to others and feel indispensable. A lack of safety can create a need to control our space, or we otherwise will be violated. A lack of worth. What would it be in this? It's again, we overgive. Um, so they're all based on deep-seated unconscious beliefs. They're not objectively true. However, they seem real to us. So we believe, and that's our identity. It's the basis of our identity, right? So according to our identity, the meaning of our life is to make up for our unconscious beliefs, which it holds as true. So by default, we're not conscious of them because it's unconscious. It's a product of our identity. And our power is either in our beliefs or in our soul truth, but it cannot be in both. So there's always a choice. So either we're resolving our identity or we are creating our end results. So when we're trained, we can bring consciousness to it. So when we become aware of our reactions and how we usually react in certain circumstances, then we can become aware of it. For me, the moment I start worrying about money, I know I'm going down the rabbit hole. And now that I am aware of it, I can stop it right there. And I can say, okay, to my ego, to myself, okay, I know you've done your job. I'll take it from here. And it just changes the outcome. It completely, instead of me really starting to worry and then starting to talk about it and it escalates, I can stop it in the beginning. So at that point, it becomes an invaluable tool for self-awareness, right? Discernment. Discernment is important. So how do you know you're in conflict? Any suggestions? How do you know? Yeah.
Yeah, so for me, when I know I'm in conflict, when there's like an urge to like fix something, or there's like this internal kind of like and there's like this like desire to it's like a rush almost, like it's like a and it yeah it's very kind of it's quite aggressive actually, like not that I become aggressive, but there's like this kind of like inside of me there's this turmoil that and I lose focus. Like I suddenly forget things, and I'm not as present with my kids, and like I'll end up not doing things during the day that I've planned to do, or so it's kind of like it just everything crumbles really because it
Yeah.
just my focus goes out the window, and it's like it's yeah
Yeah. We're on an unaware path at that moment, right?
completely
Yeah.
yeah yeah
And it takes control.
yeah, and things
Oh.
just stop aligning.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
get to the end of the day, I'm like, what happened today? Like I didn't achieve anything I kind
Yeah.
of set out to achieve. Yeah. So yeah, hijacks everything.
Yeah,
Mm.
exactly. Yeah, for sure. Anybody else? Yeah, Tim?
Yeah, when this internal pressure tension gets to like more than usual, to a point where I'm so distracted from the present moment and stuck in some sort of story so much that I don't know that it's actually going on. And it's only in the point that I realize that I'm not present with the task, and then there's this tension that's happening, and then I start to get pain. That's sort of the key indicator that helps me snap out of it, or helps
Yeah,
me become aware.
right, right,
Yeah.
right, right. Thank you. Rachel?
Um, I find when I oscillate on a decision, I flip-flop from one side of it to the other, and I can't make a decision, and then I go into confusion, and I then try and rationalize things, and then I rationalize from one side and then from the other side. And so I haven't got this wisdom and knowing about the next step. I'm so caught up in, the pros and cons and thinking it through that I know that that's when I'm in conflict.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. And those emotions are clues, right? Our emotions are clues. And our emotions, we reflect and project, and all our decisions and actions are driven by emotion. A person that has a lobotomy cannot make any decisions anymore. So, but we feel our emotions. So if we become aware of that, so other things are as well. We start to blame others, or we collude, or it's our behavior that shows it, right? And our feelings, our emotions. So if we notice our emotions, and our emotions create our thought patterns, which create our behaviors, there is a pattern, right? It always goes in that direction. So, well, we've done some examples. I don't have to need to do otherwise, because I can even have conflict with a horse. I've worked with horses every day, all day. So you can have definitely conflict, but it's a conflict in you, and it's a conflict with the horse, because we have a very humane way of being with the horses. But then if things don't happen the way I need them to happen, right? And then that inner conflict starts. My demon comes out, and it escalates, and I know it, and it's that intuition that we don't follow, and we know that we're going off track. We usually know it almost immediately, but we have to become aware of it, and we have to be willing to look at it, and to really to look at it, and to acknowledge it, right, for ourselves. So let's do a demonstration. So who has a current juicy conflict? And okay, Tim, let you be the volunteer. Awesome, thank you. So let's do the first part of the conflict resolution process. So what is the conflict or the problem? In just a couple of sentences, short.
I messaged a friend and they didn't message back for a day, and I created a story that was of a negative perception.
Yeah, isn't that what we do? I'm just making notes. Negative. I'm not that fast with typing. Excellent. So what thoughts did you have?
Um,
So just the thoughts, right? Not feelings yet.
yeah, that what I've sent in the message is offensive and somehow irreparable to the relationship continuing, or continuing in the direction that I want it to.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, and we do that quick, right?
Yeah.
Nice. And what were what feelings did you have?
Anxiety and fear.
Anxiety, fear, yeah, yeah,
Yeah. And physical feelings of tension and um, yeah, tension and pressure in the chest.
yeah, yeah, for sure. So if you think about that, Tim, and you really look at that, so you sent a message to a friend that and your friend didn't get back to you. And you started to create a story around that, and you were afraid that that the message was offensive, it was irreparable for for the relationship. You were afraid that the relationship couldn't continue in the directions that you would like it to go. It made you feel anxious, fear, tension, pressure. Uh, so if you think about that, what definition and meaning do you have about yourself when you look at that?
That I'm not good enough.
Yeah. And what is the definition and meaning about others? Not just that friend, but others in general.
That they are better than me or they are good enough. They are enough.
Okay, or is it enough? Yeah. And what about the world?
The world's not safe.
Not safe. Yeah, yeah, for sure. So when you look at that, right, you're not good enough, the others are better, they're good enough, the world is not safe. What is the underlying assumption? What is the first thing that comes up?
That I'm not safe.
Not safe in the world?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So when you look at that, and the world is not safe, you're not safe in the world, others are better, they're good enough, you're not good enough. Um, where is the power? What is going on? What are you doing? Where do you put the power?
In others, in outside of me.
And others outside of you, what actions are you taking? What are you doing?
I'm obsessing, so going over the story in my head.
Yeah.
Um,
And
trying-
when you do that, what outcome does that lead to?
more negative feelings and emotions, heightening of what's already going on.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And it's not getting better at that point, right?
No.
For sure. Yeah. So do you see how that works? How our thoughts and feelings create ultimately our reality? Yeah,
Yeah, it's creating a reality that I'm trying to avoid through the actions that is creating the reality.
yeah, yeah,
Mm.
yeah. That's where the power is, right? Awesome. You know, Eileen, are you available to talk as well, or do you have to be black? Okay, there you are. Because we're going, hi. I didn't want to call you out, but we're going in breakout rooms and we're going to do this little part ourselves. So do you know the question? Let me give you the questions and you can write them down. And then we're going to go in two by twos and we're going to do this together. And then we'll talk about it later. So the first question is, what is the problem or the conflict? And the second one is, what thoughts did you have? And then what feelings did you have? And then definition and meaning of self, others, and the world. And then what is the underlying assumption of all that? And then where's the power? And what outcome does that lead to? Okay. So we're going to be in groups of 2, and we're going to do it quick. This can go really quick, right? It doesn't have to go long. We just quick, sweet and quick. We do 6 minutes each, so 12 minutes, 6 minutes each, and then 3 minutes total for sharing. So we'll see each other again in 15 minutes. If you guys can keep track of your own time, then because I'm going to be in a room as well, so I want to be focused on that. That would be awesome. So let me see here, breakout rooms. Create 3 breakout rooms. Assign automatically. Okay, see you in 15 minutes. Oh. So, who wants to share? What realizations did you have? Yeah. Rachel?
So the realization I had was that about the end sort of result for me was that like I was spending all this time fighting and focused on doing stuff that I didn't want to be doing and getting caught up in the drama of it and the sort of the drama of the conflict, and that I could just as easily like set another intention, and even though there would still be this problem going along, that I could set an intention to resolve it, and or for it to resolve, and then refocus my time on doing the things that I love, and then that takes out the sort of addiction to that problem kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Isn't that the truth? Yeah, for sure. Thank you. Eileen.
Yeah, just how much we, like my initial feelings of frustration, end up at the end. It's sort of like I was creating frustration for myself by yeah, allowing me to get in my head. So the more I'm in my head, I'm just creating more and more frustration. And it's like, okay, I've just got to reorientate to what it is that I love. What is it that I would, yeah, my end result.
Yeah. Yeah. Very true. Yeah. Anybody else? Just unmute if you want to say something, and we're a small group.
Yeah, so for me with my conflict, it started out that, I felt like I knew more in the situation, etc. And when I went through it, or when Monique took me through it, what it came out with was I actually had this underlying belief that I haven't been prepared well for life. And so the very thing that I've been trying to compensate is to be prepared for everything, and like over prepare and try and know everything. And so, yeah, it was really brilliant to see that in this situation, that it's like, yeah, it's so interesting how it came full circle and showed me that compensation, dysfunction. So really powerful.
Yeah. Thank you.
I can share quick. I have a codependency issue going on with my mom, and the more I try to set boundaries with her and to get her into her higher self to do more for herself, and the more she wants to go into her lower self and like lean on me for things she should be doing, it's this constant like cycle. But I don't feel like she puts me in this place where I feel like I'm not allowed to be capable. So then, of course, I'm playing that I'm not allowed to be capable, which just goes down down the rabbit hole into, well, then I'm just not worthy of having my land of plenty. and my life, and everyone else gets their stuff. And so then what am I doing? I'm just creating, because eventually I just kowtow and I help her and I do too much for her just to make my own life easier. But then I never get my choice, like my big bridges and stuff done, and I never take the action because, yeah, again, I'm not allowed to be capable of all that. So it's this vicious cycle of I get mad at her, but I'm the one who's not upholding the boundaries.
Yeah.
And I'm letting her, I'm kowtowing to her lower identity constantly. So I'm creating it instead of holding my boundary.
At that, right? We're very good at that. Wow. Wonderful. Wonderful. Well, so you have a little bit better awareness, a little deepened awareness of the dysfunctional aspect of ourself, right? So emotions, thoughts create emotions, create behavior, creates results, right? So the focus is where we're coming from, and that is really where the power is. So that is the formation of our identity. We think that is who we are because we are meaning-making machines. So the central premise now is conflict with consciousness enables you to know yourself. As William says, right? Conflict is the most profound tool for self-awareness that you will ever come across. So it is essential to know yourself, what you habitually do, to be aware, because if we are aware, we can preempt that behavior and create a different outcome, right? So if you really become aware and you go, oops, there I go again, you can tell your ego, thank you. You've done your best your whole life. I'll take it from here, right? We acknowledge it. We cannot change it. It will always come up because that's who we are, but we can change it. We can preempt it. So, and of course, some people seem to stir up conflict. That just seems to be something that they like to do, and other people publicly deny it. They sacrifice themselves. Others run away. We don't want to see the conflict. Everything is always good. Um, and if we avoid conflict, you deny yourself the awareness and the lesson. So what is the theme of our, it was avoid conflict at your own peril, right? That is what we mean. We don't mean go out and create conflict so that you can learn about yourself. Not at all. But become aware and embrace it. Embrace the conflict. So if you want a different experience and a different end result, pure attention, wishful thinking, and hope are not the recommended strategies because it won't work, right? So something happens, we have a charge, right? We get a charge, we react rather than respond. Reactions come from our ego. And our ego is not our genius. It thinks it is, but it is not, right? It's automatic. We tend to react the same way every time. Of course, it's our ego. Our ego wants to keep us safe. It can only react based on the past. It's our past wounding, and it wants to keep us safe. So emotions, we can use our emotions as clues. Um, as we heard earlier, a lot of the times we feel it in our chest, right? And it's when we go against our intuition. If we have this hunch, this intuition, and we just go, no, no, we're not going to do that. We're going to do something else, right? It's when we start blaming, when we collude, when we complain. All conflict comes from our ego, right? So if you want to transmute conflict, we have to rise above conflict so our energy and attention go into our true end result. So what's the bridge? What do you have? Do you have an inkling of what? There's several things that could be a bridge, but what do you feel right now could be a bridge? Just unmute yourself if you want to say something.
I think the first part, the first stage of the bridge is acknowledging that there actually is a conflict, you know, because often we don't, we're just so in our, or it is for me anyway, speaking for myself, you know, often I'll just be in that avoidance and not even be acknowledging that that I'm doing that, you know, and it's that I think is the first step. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's refocusing on, like, after acknowledging it, but refocusing on what you love, and when you're in your head, noticing that's a trigger, and refocusing, coming back to your heart and your intuition.
Yeah. Eileen.
Yeah, for me it was emotions, noticing when I'm frustrated, or noticing the feeling, because for me I don't have any other trigger, so mine's the feeling. So when I'm feeling frustrated, or I'm feeling something, you know, sad or whatever, and then it's like, okay, then I can go stop, and then it's like rise above it and then see the higher perspective, what's really true. And then once I rise above it, then I can, like you were saying, I can see the truth of the conflict. So that was my bridge, is just, you know, feel the feeling, noticing, okay, I'm feeling this feeling, rise above it. And then it's like, what is the truth? And then what's the true action? That's what I got.
Yeah. And all that we can do when we are present. So presence, awareness and presence is where the bridge really starts. So if we can be truly present, because presence only happens in the here and now, right? And so what is presence? Presence is the absence of reacting based on egoic wounding of the past, right? Based on everything that happened in the past, and the need to feel complete, which is in the future. So there's nothing to fix, just going for what you love, guiding by your superconscious truth. So that is the bridge. It is never about anyone else or our circumstances. It's always about us, right? We can't change others. We can see and know ourselves. So when we take responsibility, we have the power to create a completely different experience of life. So we allow it to exist, right? If you don't, you're fixing it, you're fighting it, which means you're in conflict. It takes will, right, to pivot. It's a muscle. We need to train that muscle, that will, to pivot. It's simple, but it's not easy, right? But we can try, we can really practice it and use our will to pivot. So there's a vulnerability in this, right? Going for the truth can create discomfort or even conflict in itself. Going for the truth can create conflict in ourselves if we're not totally present and totally in our higher self. So vulnerability is inherent in the bridge to your new foundation. So it's where you're coming from that matters. Choose the truth as revealed in the absence of ego. It's not necessarily the easiest option, but we can transmute the conflict through presence with your whole being. So there's more than one way. There's different modalities, but we're going to try this. We're going to do the bridge now. We're going to all go back into our feeling of conflict of the thing that we just did. Tim, you have the option to choose which conflict you want to choose, or they may be very similar unless you went deeper on the same one in the breakout rooms. But let's choose our conflict, and we're going to go through a meditation, and then after that we'll talk a little bit, and then we're done. So if you all just close your eyes and sit comfortably and take a couple of deep breaths. Just settle, feel your body sitting in the chair. Feel your bum on the chair. Just notice where you are. Hear the sounds around you. Hear the birds or the dogs or whatever is going on in your house. Smell the smells, hear the sounds, feel the temperature. And then go back to that conflict you examined earlier and feel the intensity of the pain in your whole being. And just be with that, just here and now. Just allow it to be. And just truly, truly feel it. Feel the sensations, feel the emotions, the physical tenseness in your chest. Let the thoughts just go. They can be there. You don't have to do anything at all. Acknowledge that anything can happen and be in that sacred space of all possibility. Be open and have empathy with what is around us and within us. And choose to validate and love yourself. And recognize that approaching conflict with consciousness and awareness enables you to know yourself. And with awareness comes the ability to have choice. What do I really want? And now let go. Let go of that charge. It is okay. Just allow it to be there and let go. Don't pay it any attention. Don't follow through with egoically driven urge to resolve that tension. Don't be the victim. Just allow it. Acknowledge your greatness. Remind yourself what is your true desired outcome. And choose what you really want, what really matters. Where's the power? It's all in you. Ask yourself, what is a higher way to deal with this situation? And go with the first thing you get. What is your truth? Take responsibility and put the power in that. There's nothing to fix, nothing to compensate for. Choose to rely on yourself, on your truth versus external reference. And experience the liberation of going directly for what you want versus wasting time and energy. And choose to act on the truth. And follow through is essential. Now gently bring your awareness back to the room. Open your eyes. Rejoin the group. And this whole thing you can really do for yourself in just a couple of minutes. It's the conflict resolution, and then this little, just drop into your awareness, drop into innocence, right? Presence, innocence. So what landed? Are you gonna run away from conflict? Ignore it? Let's have a few shares and then we're done.
Yeah, so for me that was beautiful. So what was obvious to me is for myself and my conflict was to actually just stop worrying about my husband kind of coming to the party and just do what I can do from my true heart and, you know, connect with my son in the way that I want to and that's true for me and that I know is true for him, you know, and yeah, that's all that matters actually at the end of the day. And, you know, my husband's relationship with him will be what it will be. I don't have any control over that. And so that's what's obvious to me. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. And just to stay open and curious about, you know, what I where my mind goes to when I'm trying to navigate these kinds of things. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Beautiful. Thank you.
For me, the truth was to just continue with the boundaries that I set and then not get wrapped up in the back and forth that my mom kind of puts on me. And just kind of stay in what my intuition is telling me and just not let her kind of bait me into the bickering and the having to, you know, give up on my boundaries and what I want and I see in my life just to come down to her level. I have to keep rising up into my land of plenty and everything that I see for myself and my business. And just because she's a lot of the time choosing not to go with her higher self and go in that direction, I can't just give up on everything and let her, I can't just allow myself to continue to be anchored to her and her lower identity.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can keep pointing out the truth, and I can point out the truth in a very neutral way to her.
Right. Yeah. Living the truth, right? Yeah. Yeah. Anybody else want to share what landed?
I could be more direct and ask for what I want directly, and just allow whatever is going to unfold from that to unfold.
Yeah. Beautiful. Yeah. Yeah. Direct communication. Have you done alchemy? Do you remember handing the pen, giving the pen, putting the pen in the other hand?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. That was an amazing, amazing exercise.
Do
So
you
simple.
remember, sorry, do you remember where that modality comes from for further research?
No, actually, I don't. But it was a very good, yeah, direct communication, right? It is just direct.
Yeah,
It's really it's how people feel, how easily we feel triggered or manipulated. Where if the more clear our communication is, the least we feel manipulated or triggered or
because we can feel what someone truly wants, but when their words don't match that, it feels like manipulation.
right. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. And Amanda knows it as well. With horses, that is very, very important. They see right through you. Yeah. Okay, Rachel, you want to have the closing word?
Just to keep refocusing on what I love rather than getting caught into the drama.
Right. Yeah. Beautiful. Yeah. So avoid conflict at your own peril. Beautiful. Thank you all for being here. We went 6 minutes
Thank you.
over time, but thank you so much.
Thank you, Monique.
Monique,
Beautiful
it was
job.
beautiful.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice
Thanks,
to see
everyone.
everyone.
Bye.
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 Bye.